I'm Nathan Prince and I'm the creative director here at Silent Studios, and Liam and I met back in 2001.
And my name's Liam. I'm a music director at Silent Studios, so look after everything sound-based over in the music and sound department.
Over the years, we've worked with Burberry on 62-metre wide projections. With Anya Hindmarch, we've worked on flying models and bags colliding in slow motion on projection spheres. For the British Fashion Council, we've worked on sculptures and holographic projection. And with David Lynch, we just worked with light, so there was no image at all. I think one of my favourite projects, we've worked on a sensory supper that was just sound installation. For Kasabian, interactive visuals. For Wool Modern, we just worked with LED and wool and binaural 3D sound. And for Close and Will Soul, a floating cinema image on gauze and then lights backlighting the band, creating shadow on these gauzes. So, it's always been varied and large-scale work. But I'd say the technology's always been hidden. It's always been a secondary element, and it's really the experience that's key.
Me and Nathan met back in 2001. I just graduated from LIPA, which is Paul McCartney's music college up in Liverpool, and moved to London to start a career. At that point, I was thinking more traditional music industry, kind of bands and recording bands. But then, I guess over the first couple of years, enjoyed working to picture, did a couple of short films, one with Nathan, and really enjoyed, having that other discipline to kind of vibe off, and it wasn't just music, it was part of something bigger. So that was a really interesting introduction to that world and something I kind of wanted to pursue.
I think we just realised how powerful it could be working with sound and picture. Obviously I had always worked, for that graphic design background, I had always worked with image, but I'd always done animation and moving image. And always needed music or sound in my work, and working with Liam was just amazing, and it was so kind of mind-blowing when you could consider both right from the outset. So it was the power of bringing image and sound together really that gave us the kind of impetus, I guess, to start something. Yeah, the studio is small. We're 8 people full-time, and I think we always see that as one creative team. So we see ourselves as a creative team of 8 people. We do tend to crew up on certain projects with specialists if need be. I'd say with most projects we would have a freelancer in, a specialist, maybe working on code or a certain kind of discipline within animation or CG or something like that. But our constant team is 8 people strong. It's tricky for us because with the 2 kind of disciplines, with the 2 mediums that we work in, sound and image, it means that we can't just put an iMac on a table and get going. So we've got a purpose facility here of 3 music rooms that are completely acoustically treated and soundproof. We have an open plan studio, and then behind me we have a big kitchen where we all kind of socialise. I think we've always had some mantras and kind of these basic beliefs or things that we try to remind ourselves about. And I think one of them is to have no restriction on medium. So in our case, that might be that we're working in a physical space. It may be code and interaction, film, music or sound. So it means that our output is so varied. So that's one thing, no restriction on medium. I think what that means is we're often out of our comfort zone, which, in some ways I think we enjoy. I think we like to work outside of our comfort zone and suggest things we've never done before. Again, I think that's a really important part of our studio. It's through suggesting things that we don't know how to do that's actually aided our development, and it's always got ourselves into really inspiring situations.
We've obviously been working for 10 years, so our kind of skills have become a little bit as one. So even though we're from different backgrounds, we actually kind of almost complement each other and almost influence each other. So Nathan could come up with an idea for the music or sound and vice versa. So it feels like when we kind of sit down at the beginning of a project, we're we're almost not really thinking about the two. It's just seen as one, and what's the best, approach for the project. And we end up talking about sometimes, it could be that at the beginning we think it's going to be led musically, and then actually as we kind of get further into the project we realise no, it's going to be visually led. And I think that's really interesting because it means that we're not kind of tied to one way, and each time it's quite experimental, really.
Another mantra or something that we really believe in is to try and immerse the senses in kind of delight and wonderment. And I think having the two kind of disciplines means that we can, we can do that. That's been something that we've always come back to, that we want to immerse the senses in, image and sound.